Ray 1. Ray of will or power, special virtues, strength, courage, steadfastness, truthfulness, arising from absolute fearlessness, power of a ruling capacity to grasp great questions in large-minded way, and of handling men and measures. The vices of the first ray: ambition, willfulness, hardness, arrogance, pride, desire to control others, anger. So virtues to be acquired with the first ray: tenderness, humility, sympathy, tolerance, patience. In the man of the will, on the first ray, self-government is the dominant note. If you belong to this ray, your sense of self will be strong, and if you are not well advanced in other aspects, may be disagreeable as well. And you'll tend to get, and will tend to give you a firmness, like amid things and events that scarcely anything in the world could shake or change. An inclination to be positive in action, and the courage to face life as an adventure and not take refuge or rest amid things. It cannot be stubbornness, which cling to some idea or feeling or spite of self or place or thing, but must be its very nature and have the character of flexibility and newness. For it is a power, not a pose. The first ray man rules himself with a rod of iron. If such a man comes to think that flesh foods, for example, are bad to eat from a physical or moral point of view, he will give them up without effort. And if the body raises its head and says, oh, I do want the taste of venison again, oh, I do want the taste of meat again, and you mean to say that you will not let me have it, even for the whole long future of my life, his reply comes without hesitation, is, yes, I mean just that. So ray 1 is known as the ray of power. Though it is needed for sustenance and success, power alone without wisdom and love will result in destruction and disintegration. When, however, the three characteristics are united, it becomes a creative and governing ray. Those on this ray have a strong willpower for either good or evil. For the former, when the will is directed by wisdom and made selfless by love, ray 1 man will always come to the front in his own line. He may be a burglar or the judge who condemns him, but in either case he will be the head of his profession. He is a born leader in any and every public career, one to trust and to lean on, one to defend the weak and put down oppression, fearless of consequences and utterly indifferent to comment. On the other hand, an unmodified first ray can produce a man of unrelenting cruelty and hardness of nature. The first ray man often has a strong feeling and affection, but he does not readily express it. He will love strong contrasts and masses of color, but will rarely be an artist. He will delight in great orchestra effects and crashing courses, and if modified by the fourth ray, the sixth ray, or the seventh ray, may be a great composer, but not otherwise. And there is a type of ray, and this is the type of ray which could be tone deaf, and another which could be colorblind to the more like delicate colors, such as a man could distinguish well between red and yellow, but will hopelessly confuse green and violet. The literary work of ray 1 man will be strong and treacherant, but will care little for style or finish in his writings. Perhaps examples of this type would be Luther Carlyle or Walt Whitman. It is said that in attempting the cure of disease, the best method for the first ray man would be to draw health and strength from the great fount of universal life by his willpower, and then pour it throughout the patient. This, of course, it presupposes knowledge of his part of occult methods. The characteristic of method approaching the great quest on this ray would be by sheer force of will. Such a man, as it were, takes the kingdom of heaven, quote unquote, by violence. We have seen that the born leader belongs to this ray, wholly or in part. It makes the able commander-in-chief such a Napoleon or Kitchener. Napoleon was first and fourth rays, and Kitchener was first and seventh. The seventh ray giving him the remarkable power of organization. Souls on this ray are spoken of occultly as crashing their way into incarnation. They appropriate dynamically and which they require. They brook no hindrance in the satisfaction of their desires. They stand alone in a proud isolation, glorifying in their strength and their ruthlessness. These qualities have been transmuted into an intelligent use of power, which make them powerful factors in the plan and magnetic centers of force, gathering workers and forces around them. An illustration of this can be seen in the work of Master El Moira, who is the center, the magnetic attractive center of the Lee esoteric groups, conferring on them by his power and the capacity to destroy that which is undesirable in the life of the disciples. Forget not that the work of stimulating that which is needed is one of the major tasks of the Master, and the power of discipline to destroy that which limits him. It is greatly needed. Souls of this ray, as they come into incarnation through desire, grasp this expertise. This expresses the nature of the force demonstration employed. There is a measure of violence in their technique. They eventually take the kingdom of heaven by force. The outstanding quality of Ray 1 is loneliness, isolation, and the ability to stand alone and unmoved. The ray of dynamic intensity, for lack of better words, it is easy for Ray 1 people to resist the tendency to identify themselves with others. To have true understanding involves an increased ability to love beings and yet at the same time preserve personality detachment. This detachment can be easily founded on the inability to love, in a selfish concern for one's own comfort, physical, mental, spiritual, and above all, emotional. First-rate people dread emotion and despise it, but sometimes they have to swing into an emotional condition before they can use emotional sensitivity in the right manner. First-rate people belong to what is called the destroyer ray, and the ray of the first aspect, which is the power to bring an end, flows through them. They have the tendency to destroy as to build, through a wrong direction of energy, through overemphasis of energy in some particular direction. Through misuse of energy with themselves or others, many Ray 1 people have the tendency to pride themselves on this and hide behind the plea that being upon Ray 1 is a disruptive tendency is unavoidable. Such is not the case. Builders such as second Ray people always are have to learn to destroy when prompted by group love, acting under the impulse of group love and utilizing the power of attachment in a detached manner. Both groups, builders and destroyers, must ever work from the standpoint of reality, from the inner nucleus of truth, and must take their stand at the center. The will of deity colored the stream energy of the units, which we call by the name of the ray of will or power, Ray 1, and the impact of that stream on the matter of space ensured that hidden purpose of deity would inevitably and eventually be revealed. It is a ray of such dynamic intensity that we would call the ray of the destroyer. It is not yet functioning actively. It will come into play only when the time comes for the purpose to be safely revealed. Its units of energy and manifestation in the kingdom, in the human kingdom, are very few. As said earlier, there is not a true first ray type incarnation as of yet. It's mainly its main potency to be found in the mineral kingdom, and the key to the mystery of the first ray is to be found in radium. So El Moira is the Kohan of the first ray, the chief of the Darjeeling Council of the Great White Brotherhood. El Moira represents the godly attributes of courage, certainty, power, forthrightness, self-reliance, dependency, faith, and initiative. These are qualities of the father principle of the statesman, the executive, the ruler. Because he has ably outpictured these essential virtues, El Moira has, though many embodiments, worn the crown of authority, ruling many kingdoms wisely and well. His leadership has not been that of a dictator demanding that his subjects submit to his human will, but rather his interpretation of government is God over man, and his concept of true statesman is God over men. He inspires his subjects instead of dominating his subjects. So that's what I have for the Ray 1 in Esoteric Astrology. I guess let's get a little bit more information on it. So the Ray 1 is going to be attributed to Leo. It is going to be attributed to Aries, and it is going to be attributed to Capricorn. It is exoterically colored orange, or esoterically the color is red. It is the lowest vibing color. It is kind of the start. It is ruled by, I believe, Mars or Mercury. One of the two. So, that is the first little part that I have for the Ray 1. And I will see you guys at the next one.